Hello students, good morning. We have seen acute otitis media in last session. At present, we will continue with the chronic otitis media, which is subsequent part of the AOM. If infection lasts for more than 4 months, it is considered as COM. In the COM, there are more structures around the ear are involved, such as mastoid bone, border of the temporal bone, inner ear, etc. And the pathological condition spread further to the middle ear cleft, to the inner ear and surrounding area. See, this is the external part of the ear, and the disease condition occur in this part, pinna and the auditory canal. It known as the otitis externa. This is the middle ear, which comprises tympanic membrane, eustachian tube and the 3 ossicles. The disease condition occur in this part is the otitis media, further divided into the 2 parts, acute and chronic. Chronic have the further types, it divided into the 2 types, and if this condition acute and chronic otitis media untreated, then there is a chances of the severe complications like meningitis, extradural abscess, subdural abscess, mastoiditis and the mastoid abscess. And the disease infection occur into the inner ear. Inner ear contains vestibule and the cochlea. It is known as the labyrinthitis. Chronic otitis media. What is it? It is a chronic infection of the middle ear cleft mucosa. What exactly happened in the chronic otitis media? Here are some points. First point, there is a severe perforation of the eardrum. Second, erosion of the small sound conducting bones of the middle ear. Here it is talking about the ossicles. Third, chronic or the recurring drainage from the ear. It means otorrhea. Next, inflammation causing erosion of the bony cover or facial nerve, balance canal, cochlea. Next, erosion of the bony borders of the middle ear or mastoid, resulting in infection spreading to the meninges or the brain. Next, presence of the cholesteatoma. Now, what is the cholesteatoma? It is the growth of dead cells. Dead cells occur from the bacteria or the viral infection. It is abnormal non-cancerous skin growth that develop in the middle ear cleft. Mostly it is the congenital, but sometimes it is acquired from the bacteria or the viral infection. And last point, persistent of fluid behind an intact eardrum. Now, in the chronic otitis media, these all structures are involved. While in the acute, there are only the fluid collection or the infection in the middle ear cleft or the middle tympanic cavity. Here, the infection spread at the mastoid bone, mastoid air cells, or to the brain, or to the inner ear, or to the bony cover of the temporal bone, bony border of the temporal bone, and to the eardrum and the external canal. When the infection is persistent more than the 4 months, there is a chances of leakage, drainage of the discharge. So, this is all about the chronic otitis media. Now, this is most important part of this theory. Types of the chronic otitis media, it is divided into the 2. What name suggests chronic suppurative otitis media? Now, what is the meaning of suppuration? There is a formation of pus and the discharge from anything, from anywhere. It is known as a suppurative. And second is the non-suppurative otitis media. These two are the main types. Non-suppurative, it means there is a collection of fluid but it not drainage or it not discharged. So first, the chronic suppurative otitis media further divided into the 2. I will suggest the first, tubotympanic. It is a safe type. Why? Because tube it means a eustachian tube, and the tympanic it means the tympanic membrane and the tympanic cavity. What name suggests tubotympanic type? Here what will happen? the eustachian tube will congested from the bacteria or the viral infection, and then it goes to the tympanic cavity. That congestion or the formation of pus goes to the tympanic cavity, and the infection will remain into the middle ear cavity. It is known as the tubotympanic type. And the second is atticoantral type. It is unsafe and dangerous. Why? Because here attic and antral, it is the mastoid air cells part, and when the infection reach to the mastoid air cells or the mastoid bone, it is severe complication. It is considered as a severe complication, and so that it is a dangerous type. Atticoantral is unsafe. It is associated with cholesteatoma. I told you before what is the cholesteatoma. It is the non-cancerous cyst-like structure which is developed from the dead cells of the bacterial infection. So, these cholesteatoma it present behind the eardrum in the middle ear cavity, so that it is the dangerous atticoantral type. One more point in the both type, tubotympanic and the atticoantral type, there is a perforation of eardrum in the first tubotympanic type are in the central. Perforations in the central, and in the second there is a marginal perforation of the eardrum. So this is the basic difference between these two types. Now the second main division is non-suppurative otitis media. Here the fluid accumulated in the middle ear cavity. The fluid is serous. In the non-suppurative otitis media, the fluid is serous in form, and there is no more complications in the tubotympanic type, and there is a severe complications in the atticoantral type. We will study further. Chronic suppurative otitis media is a continuous infection of the middle ear, leaving ear discharge that persists beyond 3 months. It is usually preceded by neglected or recurrent acute otitis media and commonly occurs in a person who had ear diseases during infancy or the childhood. If there is a recurrent acute otitis media episode and not treated well or the untreated, then there is a chances of chronic suppurative otitis media is higher. Tubotympanic type, it is also known as a safe type or the benign type. Write it down, benign type. As I mentioned you before, the persisting or the recurring infection ascend from the eustachian tube to the tympanum and is therefore known as the tubotympanic type. Second most important part, the perforation is in the central pars tensa and it is most unlikely to give rise to any serious complication. It means there is no chances of any serious complication in this type. And the second type, atticoantral type, it is a dangerous type and in which the cholesteatoma is present. Cholesteatoma word you have to remember. This is the, I explained you before that cholesteatoma, it is the sac or the cyst like structure. What happen in this type? The disease involves the bones of attic, antrum or the mastoid process along with the mucosa of the middle ear cleft. The perforation is in the attic or the marginal area of the pars tensa, having foul swell and the white flecks. This is the severe condition and thus the discharge is foul swelling, very much purulent and the flax type. This can give rise to the serious complications such as brain abscess, meningitis, labyrinthitis due to the presence of destructive cholesteatoma spread beyond the middle ear cleft. Etiology. Now, it occurs at all age and the both sexes are equally affected. Here, what is the main etiology of otitis media? The infection enters through the nasopharynx and the eustachian tube. So, the disease of the respiratory tract should be managed and well treated. If there is a nasal allergy or there is a sinusitis, rhinitis, adenoids, tonsillitis, these all are the respiratory tract infection. Okay, so person should maintain hygiene first of all, so that in the hygienic condition there is a less chances of the respiratory tract infection, and so that the patient can boost up their immunity and they are less likely to happen these infections, and so that we can reduce the chances of the otitis media. So here are some points. You can take the screenshot of this because you can easily understand. It is in very simple language. This is also in the etiology. If you have any queries, you can ask me in the comment section. I hope you took the screenshot of this. This is the end of the etiology. These are the bacteria which is responsible for the chronic infection, and this is the virus, adeno and rhinoviruses. These are the clinical features. Mostly there is a earache, otalgia, otorrhea, discharges. The type of the discharges are yellow, white, blood tinged drainage. Sometimes the bleeding from the external ear, tinnitus, giddiness, rupture of the eardrum, pulling and scratching at the ear in the infants. These are the symptoms you can easily recall. This is also the clinical features, and sometimes the infection is persistent more than 3 to 4 months. Then there is a fever and chill, nasal congestion, feeling of fullness in ear. These are the common symptoms which is in the all ear pathology. If there is a patient with the ear ache, with fever and chill, ear congestion, feeling of fullness, tinnitus, then what should physician first do? The physician will examining the ear with the otoscope. Otoscope is instrument which is check the perforation in the eardrum, any discharge or any earwax. This is all are the conditions which can be ruled out from the otoscope. Next is the culture and the sensitivity of ear discharge. From this we can rule out which bacteria or the which virus is responsible for the infection, so that we can give the appropriate antibiotic. Next is mastoid X-ray or the CT scan of the temporal bone. From these all measures we can know there is which type of pathology occur in the middle ear cavity. Next, audiograms and the tympanometry should be performed. Although this is not possible in heavily discharging ear, swabs can be useful in the cases of treatment failure. If there is a full discharge in the middle ear cleft, then we cannot rule out with the audiograms and the tympanometry, but sometimes we can do it after the using swab. If there is a suspicion of the cholesteatoma, then we can suggest the CT scan of the petrous temporal bone for the further assessment. We are studying chronic suppurative otitis media. It is further divided into two types. Etiology and clinical features are the mostly same of the both part. Here the treatment is slightly different. So what is the treatment of the tubotympanic CSOM? The conservative treatment of the infection consists of elimination of all upper respiratory tract infection, removal of the septic foci like adenoids and the tonsils, treatment of the sinusitis and rhinitis, topical antibiotics, it means the ear drops, and the corticosteroid if there is a discharge from ear cleaning by suction. Nutrition of the patient should be improved for the enhanced immunity. Surgical treatment of the tubotympanic CSOM is polyps should be removed if they are present. Myringoplasty, it means the repair of the eardrum. And last is the tympanoplasty. It means the reconstruction of the eardrum. In this type of the CSOM, aticoantral CSOM, the higher dose of antibiotics are required because the infection spread outside of the middle ear cavity. So the conservative treatment is keep ear dry with the suction cleaning of small cholesteatoma cavity. Treat precipitating factors like tonsillitis and sinusitis. Analgesics if pain is caused by complications such as acute mastocytitis. Acute mastocytitis is complication of the aticoantral CSOM. Next, antibiotic ear drops locally and systematically to control the infection. What is the surgical measures required for this type? The main object of the operations are to eradicate the disease, thus making the ear safe. Second, make the ear dry. And third, to preserve hearing. In this type, there is a large collection of the purulent discharge into the middle ear cavity. It spread outside of the ear, outside of the middle ear, and the discharge is also drainage, so that the ear should do dry first of all. The surgery, mastoidectomy. Mastoidectomy, what is this? Mastoidectomy is this is the procedure in which we can rule out how extent of the mastoid air cells are affected. Second is the modified radical mastoidectomy is performed to eradicate the disease and to serve the hearing. See, we have seen both types, treatment of both types of the CSOM. Now these are the complications. These occur if two types left untreated. Take screenshot of the complications, because our next topic is the complication of the otitis media, in which we will study these all types in detail. Chronic non-suppurative otitis media, serous otitis media, or the otitis media with effusion. Effusion, it means accumulation or the collection in the large extent. It is characterized by the accumulation of serous fluid within the middle ear which interferes with hearing. It may be acute or chronic, and the fluid may remain in the ear for a long time. Etiology: any age from the infancy to the adulthood, but common in children. Predisposing factors: an obstruction of the eustachian tube which prevents normal ventilation of the middle ear, often by enlarged adenoid or the nasopharyngeal tumors. If there is any adenoid or the nasopharyngeal tumors or the disease condition, then it chances of the catarrhal or the congestion of the eustachian tube, so that the person cannot feel ventilation in the middle ear or in the ear, so that the collection of the fluid occur in the middle ear cavity. Second, inappropriate use of antibiotic for treating ear infection resulting in collection of the sterile fluid. Third, associated with the viral infection of the upper respiratory tract infection such as tonsillitis and sinusitis. This point is very common in all theory, so you have to remember this. And the last is excessive nose blowing. What are the signs and symptoms of the serous otitis media? Deafness is very prominent in this. Sensation of fluid. Feeling of fullness and discomfort in the affected ear. Deafness may vary in degree with the changing position of head. Sensation of fluid. The patient may feel as if there is a fluid moving in the ear, and the tinnitus. Bubbling noises, especially on blowing nose and the swallowing. Investigation of serous otitis media is done by otoscopy. It reveals behind the eardrum can see fluid level or the air bubbles, and tympanic membrane is dull and retracted. What is the treatment of serous otitis media? For causative factors, the disease of the nose, paranasal sinus, or the pharynx adenoid which cause eustachian tube obstruction should be treated. Second, antibiotic therapy, and third, nasal decongestant may help restore function of the eustachian tube. In the surgical treatment, most of the otitis media with effusion completely resolve within 3 months. About 10% need surgery because of the persistent fluid in the middle ear. What are the surgical measures? Myringotomy. It is incision of tympanic membrane to release fluid from the middle ear. Hope you understand this. And aspiration of the middle ear fluid after myringotomy. Now, most important in this theory is the grommet. What is grommet? It is a polyethylene tube which enters into the middle ear for provided the temporary ventilation. So, grommet is used for temporary ventilation of the middle ear is provided by inserting a polyethylene tube called grommet through the eardrum. This is the surgical measures. And here is differential diagnosis of chronic otitis media. It can be differentiated in the otitis externa, impacted earwax, cholesteatoma, or the neoplasm. So this is the end of the chronic otitis media. We will summarize this. Further, first of all, we have seen the overview of the otitis media, which structures are involved. Then there is two main types of the chronic otitis media, suppurative and non-suppurative. Suppurative is further divided into two types. There is an introduction of these two types of the chronic suppurative otitis media. Then the etiology and clinical features are almost same of both types. So we have mentioned that as a common. And then the treatment of the both different treatment of the both types, and then the complications and serous otitis media theory, serous otitis media introduction, etiology, clinical features, treatment, and the differential diagnosis of the chronic otitis media. Thank you.